I think it has to call to a very specific generation, a very niche group of people. I think A Tale of Our Time is going to differ so much from that of our parents to our own generation.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tales of Our Times. This is a show where we discuss the stories that move us, what makes them so meaningful, and why others could or should find meaning in them as well. This is not a spoiler-free show, so bear that in mind as you continue to listen. We tackle books, movies, comics, and more. Where there's a story, there's a reason to read. Or watch, in today's case. I guess you could pick which one you want. I'm your host, Amanda Stevens, and joining me today is my guest and very old friend, Emily Anderson. How are you?
I am good. I am so excited today to talk about truly, I would say, a piece of our culture, even.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, your introduction was very perfect, like, for you and me especially, and I think also for, like, another slightly older generation as well. I think it's kind of got... It's got several generations in a chokehold. So,
yes,
or it definitely had several generations in a chokehold, even if it doesn't now. But Emily, is there anything you would like to say to introduce yourself?
I am a wannabe / inspiring illustrator and all around just movie geek and nerd. I was also born and raised in the Pacific Northwest, which plays a very important part in today's story, too.
Yeah, I guess that's true, actually. It is also literally like located where we were. So today we're talking about Twilight.
Yes.
A story that has galvanized many, and myself included. I went through the stages of grief with Twilight, basically, between like loving it, hating it, and coming to appreciate it for what it was ultimately.
Yes.
But Emily and I have known each other for a very long time. And while today we're talking about the movie, we did read the book way long ago when we were in middle school.
Yeah,
and
like 7th grade.
I remember distinctly, like, because we were both from Washington State in the United States, we had to plan a road trip, and we were planning a trip to Forks, Washington, because that was where Twilight was.
Yeah, Stephanie Meyer literally just Googled the town that gets the least amount of sunlight, and Forks, Washington popped up, and that's why she chose that location.
So we have a lot of feelings about the story that we're going to be talking about today, but we will be talking about mostly the movie, which did come out later. I forgot to check what year it came out. Do you know?
2008.
So at that point, I think like 4 or 5 years after the book came out. A little bit like our Princess Bride episode, they are really, really similar. We're going to try and focus our conversation on the movie today.
It's also going to be turned into an animated series.
It is?
As well. Yeah.
I did not hear that. This is like breaking news to me, probably to many other people who are listening. You're up on those Twilight updates.
Forums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is going through a renaissance.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay, wait. But you know what? Let's stop beating around the bush. Emily, can you give us a summary of the movie Twilight?
I will try my very best.
Yeah.
So we meet Bella Swan, played by Kirsten Stewart, a clumsy teen who moves from Arizona to Forks, Washington. She moves in with her estranged father, who's a local police chief, and she does that so that her mom can basically travel freely with her new husband and say, goodbye, daughter of mine.
It's like, I'll make your life easier, Mom. I'm going to go hang out with Dad, who is really nice to me, but I'm a teenager, so I don't like him.
Yeah, exactly. So upon her first day at high school, she meets Edward Cullen, who is played by Robert Pattinson. And this movie, I feel like, really sets up both of their careers. But Bella learns from her classmates that Edward and his adopted siblings, Alice, Jasper, Emmett, and Rosalie, are the most beautiful students in the school, but they pretty much keep to themselves and think they are like too good for everyone else.
Yeah, they're like mega cliquey.
Yes, and like also a matchmaker too, apparently, which is very weird for that family dynamic.
Right. Yeah, they're also it's like all kinds of weird, and the fact that everybody's like cool with it is also strange. 4 of them are clearly dating each other, and it's like I don't know what to do. That
Indeed.
Here we are. So anyway,
when they first meet Edward and Bella, Edward is very cold and almost grossed out by Bella, but then he disappears for a couple days, and that leaves Bella kind of wondering what she did to even anger him in the first place. But when he returns, he has different colored eyes, and Edward apologizes for his behavior and begins to befriend her. Then one day after school, Edward uses his bare hands to shield Bella from a speeding van, almost teleporting across the parking lot too.
Yeah, a series of weird things just start happening.
Yeah, we have changing of eye color, incredibly fast, impossibly strong.
Oh, yes.
So she sets out trying to figure out what's his deal exactly.
Right.
But he refuses to answer her questions, so Bella turns to her family friend, Jacob Black, just a friend.
His unwillingly, just a friend, Jacob Black, friend from the Indian Res.
He is a member of the TWILGHT tribe, which is an actual Native American tribe located in La Push, Washington.
The only real part of this movie.
Amen.
Yes.
And so during a beach day, after being told that the Cullens weren't welcome on the Native American reservation, Jacob tells Bella that there's a tribal legend about the battle between his people and the creatures known as the Cold Ones.
Oh my God,
aka
vampires. I didn't remember that. Go on.
Yep. So after Googling a crazy thing, there were 3 things she was absolutely positive of. First, Edward was a vampire.
Yes.
Second, there was a part of him that thirsted for her blood. And third, she was unconditionally in love with him.
Oh my God, yes, it's the quote.
Even after Edward admits that the scent of her blood is almost too tempting to resist, and after taking her up a mountain, isolating her, he reveals that he also has feelings for Bella. Their relationship grows, and he even shows up to her bedroom at night unannounced.
Which is actually very romantic.
Yes, very sweet.
In the movie, I swear.
He begins to share about his family's unconventional way of living too. They are what they jokingly call vegetarians, drinking only animal blood, no human. He also debunks popular vampire myths. Yes, they are immortal. He has been 16 for a while now. Stake through the heart won't kill them, neither does garlic. They can go out in the sunlight, but it will make their skin shimmer like diamonds. They don't sleep in coffins or at all. Some vampires have special powers. Edward can read minds, but he can't read Bella's for some weird reason.
Oh my God, I forgot about that too.
That's also why he's drawn to her in the first place.
Yeah.
Alice can predict the future, and Jasper can control emotions. Just as Bella and Edward were getting comfortable in their new relationship, and after a thrilling Cullen baseball game, which they can only play during thunderstorms, Alice sees a vision of 3 vampires that have been involved in the killings in Forks lately approaching them.
Because in the background of this, there have been like some unsolved murders that like her dad, who's a cop, is like trying to solve, and he's like out here trying to be like, Bella, you need to be careful. Someone's out here killing people, and she's not paying any attention to it. Like nobody's giving any mind.
They are also described as animal attacks, but it is very much a B plot line that you kind of forget about halfway through the film.
Right. We get lost in the romance. Yeah, so anyway, these vampires show up and they're like, yo, it was us. What up?
Like, let's play baseball too. But one of the vampires, James, is very intrigued by Edward's overprotectiveness of Bella and wants to now hunt her for sport. So the Cullens split up Edward and Bella and send her to Arizona
Mm-hmm.
after breaking her father's heart in the most tragic way possible with
Honestly,
the most
so unnecessary.
yeah.
So she goes back to Arizona after ruining her dad, and then
Yeah, James basically figures out where Bella is and calls her and lies to Bella, saying that he caught her mother and he will kill her unless Bella comes to the
mm-hmm,
ballet studio. She gets bitten by James. All of a sudden, Edward and the Cullens jump in
mm-hmm,
and start ripping James apart.
mm-hmm,
Edward sucks the venom
venom.
from Bella's blood, saving her from becoming a vampire, even though Alice was like, she's going to be a vampire, just do it now. But yeah, so the only way to kill a vampire in this universe is by ripping their body apart and lighting it on fire. So they
Mm-hmm.
do that. And Victoria, James's mate the whole time,
Yeah.
escapes. But after being released from the hospital, Bella and Edward return to Forks in time for prom.
Mm-hmm.
And while dancing under the stars, Bella tells Edward she wants him to turn her into a vampire, but he refuses.
Mm-hmm.
And that is book 1, movie 1, Twilight.
Yeah, it's kind of setting up all the drama for the future books. And credit
Right.
where credit's due, that is set up very well. Stephanie Meyer, you did a
Yeah.
good job of setting up this is going to be the drama for the next 2 books. One, Bella wants to be a vampire. Edward doesn't want her to be a vampire. 2,
Yeah.
you've now got a vampire out here looking for revenge, who knows you, knows where you
Exactly.
live, knows your family, and is coming for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. And they do a good job with Jacob's storyline too.
He's also a very side character in this one, but he comes
Yeah.
across very positively in the first book, I remember.
Yeah.
As
I
everything was
love
going
him.
on.
I always liked him. And yeah, he was truly the only friend who actually liked Bella for her and not
Right.
because she was just the new girl, too.
Right. Yeah.
But it was the most popular thing to hate on it. And I remember mostly my guy friends at the time would not stop complaining and
Yes.
speaking about how much they disliked this storyline
You know
and
what?
this whole universe.
I think I am trying to remember myself. I think by the time the movie came out, I had jumped on the hater train myself, which is
I could very much
tragic.
see that. Yeah,
I don't remember when I did, but I definitely remember I think it's because I said, I believe it's around the time the 3rd book came out. And I could check it, but I'm not going to check it right now. So,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
because I remember I was sold in the first, I was dedicated to the first story. We got to the 2nd book, and I felt so. It's also not the strongest of Stephanie Meyer's work.
Yeah.
Then the 3rd one came out, and I was kind of over it, and I had started to become a hater. And so
Yeah.
I think by the time I saw the movie, I was also on love is
Yeah.
gross. And it should not be visiting her at night, which is true, but
Yeah.
it was romantic in the book, I swear. So
It was. Or in our frame of reference, it was very sweet. Everything was beautiful.
I was above board. But I
Yeah.
mean, that's also the romance trope, right? Which is fun. But
Yeah.
before I get into that, actually, I think I would rather just skip ahead because this is basically question 7. Why do you care so much about Twilight, the movie?
So this movie and also the book too, I feel like the book kind of set up this pretense that carried on into the movie. But this was my first standard into what a relationship should look like. This set the bar. I was 12 when I first read this, and so I was
Yes.
14 when I saw the movie. And honestly, 14 was the worst because I was about to enter the high school dating
Right,
period.
the
And I'm
datosphere, so to speak.
yes, exactly. And that's a horrible narrative to push on that I need to become so sickly obsessed with my significant other
Right.
that
I would die for them.
yeah. It was really toxic, honestly. The romance that I was, I don't know, fed into or delusionally brought into thinking yep, this is it. And I think I don't know. I don't know if it's healthy, but I think a lot of people our age also had the same weird standards going into relationships. Nope, I gotta look for my Edward. I have to
Yeah.
look for my Bella.
I like Team Edward, Team Bella. Not Team
Yeah.
Bella. Everybody was
Or
Bella. So
Jacob.
Team Edward, Team
Yeah.
Jacob. But also,
Yeah.
I feel it really was an introduction for, at least for people our age, I feel it was an introduction to the romantic genre and also like the idea of romance, because I definitely feel like Twilight was the first like dedicated romance book that I read. I had read other books where like there's always a romantic subplot in it, but it's not a romance. And Twilight is that. It is about the relationship, like that's the whole thing, and it like matching everything else in the romantic genre, including things that are like creepy, but it's good in the book because they're both into it, like which is like the underlying thing. I would also say like kind of on a weird tangent, being able to look at it and then later on the hater train, like dissect it for what was unhealthy did kind of at least get me questioning the behavior of those around me in a way that I think was probably really good to be doing in high school. Right?
I think so. Or to have those conversations and everything too. I think like a more important thing now is like why I care about it more recently. During pandemic and COVID time, that's when I rediscovered the Twilight series. They were on a streaming platform that I was browsing on, and the whole series was on there. And I'm like, you know what? I haven't even thought about this series since the last movie came out. So let's do it. And to have the hindsight of like years of relationships like under my belt now and just a fully developed brain, it was so much more like camp and fun and almost like neurotic to look back on this ridiculous plot and storyline.
Right. And I feel like that's kind of where I am now. I think that's also like what's leading to kind of like we mentioned it earlier, like the renaissance of Twilight and popularity is like just kind of appreciating it for what it was.
Yeah. It's so fun to see the full like cycle of seeing a movie debut being an amazing thing to now have it kind of be a camp, almost Rocky Horror Picture level of cult following movie in on itself, where no one takes it seriously. No one is watching this the same way we were watching it first go around anymore.
Yeah. I guess it's good longevity for the movie too. I guess is that why you think it should be considered a tale of our time? Is that why you think others should care about it?
I think so, yeah. Like what we kind of have been touching is like I don't know how much like so much the story itself is, but just the impact that it left onto our society. It really demonstrated how important the audience of women and teen girls are, because no one really thought that this movie was going to make money, and everyone was really shocked when it was making such big
bucks.
debuts. Yeah, big bucks at the box office. And it kind of set up the success of other movies like it, like The Hunger Games was a couple of years because of this. Divergent, which is the lesser successor, but on that same pipeline. And I think everyone really enjoyed the book and the storyline because Bella is such a great like conductor or catalyst to kind of insert yourself in, because who doesn't want to fantasize about being loved by a beautiful man who will make us immortal and stay young and beautiful forever
and is totally dedicated to you. Well, and it's like, you know, regardless of whatever you may say about Bella as a character, like she doesn't have very much going for her. That's also the purpose, right? Like that's the point of a lot of these main characters or heroines in the genre, is like she is meant to be a little bit empty so that you can project onto her, and that's the point of the character. So
and that you can make her complex then, because you can self-insert yourself literally into those situations too.
Right. All in all, like you're right too. Like it did a really good job of like demonstrating, like regardless of what you thought about the story, you can't deny its success and its impact on society, even today as it like comes back into like meme culture, popular culture, like through the backlogs almost. So I definitely agree. I was really excited when you said you wanted to talk about this today. So
let me know if you want me back to do the rest of the series.
Maybe when the animated series comes out, we'll have to go through it. That'll be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're almost out of time, but if you could give Twilight a one-phrase subtitle of your own, what do you think that would be?
I really thought hard about this, and the best I could kind of do was Twilight, awakening of true toxic romance.
Yeah, it's kind of both, but we love it, fam.
Oh yeah.
I do.
Watch it after this.
Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have for today. So thank you, Emily, so much for coming on and doing this like flashback with me. Thank you also to everybody else out there for joining us on Radio Taiwan International. This has been Tales of Our Time. I'm your host, Amanda Stevens, with my guest, Emily Anderson. And I hoped that you enjoyed learning more about Twilight, awakening true toxic romance. A tale of our time. We'll see you next time.